Hachette Audio presents Her Way, The Hopes and Ambitions of Hilary Clinton. Written by Jeff Gerth and Don Van Natta, Jr. And read by Eric Singer.
When will a woman become President of the United States? The tantalizing question was broadcast across America on a Tuesday evening in September 1934. To many, the idea of a female commander-in-chief was perhaps a bit preposterous, considering that women had won the right to vote only 14 years earlier. But for a young lawyer and women's rights activist named Lillian D. Rock, the historic day when Americans would elect their first female president was not hard to imagine. Mrs. Rock posed her question to Eleanor Roosevelt during the First Lady's weekly radio program, broadcast from Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. On each show, Mrs. Roosevelt delivered a few comments about the news of the day before answering listeners' questions. Most of these inquiries were routine and even humdrum, but Lillian Rock's question, beamed across America on the NBC radio network, seemed to surprise the First Lady, who asked for a moment to think before responding. While the Beauty Rest Orchestra played Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, Mrs. Roosevelt sat behind a silver microphone and puzzled over the best way to respond. When the music ended, the program's host said, "Mrs. Roosevelt promised she would give her opinion of the question brought up by Lillian D. Rock. When will a woman become President of the United States? Mrs. Roosevelt." "I do not think that it would be impossible to find a woman who could be president, but I hope it doesn't happen in the near future," said Mrs. Roosevelt, speaking, as she always did, methodically, carefully choosing every word. "There are exceptional women, just as there are exceptional men, and it takes an exceptional man to be a successful and useful president. Though women are doing more and more, and are proving each year that they are capable of assuming responsibilities which were considered to be out of their province in the past, I do not think that we have yet reached the point where the majority of people would feel satisfied to follow the leadership and trust the judgment of a woman as president. And no woman could therefore succeed as president any more than could any man who did not have the trust and confidence of the majority of the nation. For this is a democracy, and governed by majority rule. People say no woman could stand the physical strain, but that, I think, is...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?